Welcome back, everyone. If you have been anywhere near the sports world recently, you have undoubtedly felt the seismic shockwaves radiating from the hallowed grounds of Wimbledon. We are witnessing a revolution, and its name is Alexandra Eala. Imagine the scene. Center court, July 2026. The grass is pristine, the crowd is breathless, and across the net stands Iga Swiatek, the defending Wimbledon champion and a generational titan of the sport. The odds are insurmountable. The history books say it simply cannot be done. But then, a 21-year-old left-hander from Quezon City, Philippines, steps up to the baseline and completely rewrites the script of global tennis. In a stunning straight-sets victory, ending in a dramatic 7-6, 6-2 masterpiece, Alex Eala did not just defeat a world number 3. She shattered a glass ceiling that has hung over Southeast Asian tennis for decades. With that single strike of the ball, she became the first Filipino player in the Open era to advance to the second week of a Grand Slam singles event. The whole world is talking about the Philippines' new superstar, and frankly, they have every reason to. This is not just a story about a hot streak or a lucky draw. This is the culmination of a decade of grueling sacrifice, cross-continental moves, and an unbreakable Laban spirit that propelled her to a career-high ranking of world number 28. From being overwhelmingly voted the Women's Tennis Association's star of the swing for the 2026 grass court season, claiming 89% of the global fan vote, to capturing incredible titles in Birmingham and Guadalajara, Eala is rapidly taking over the sport. Today, we are going to take an extensive, unprecedented deep dive into the making of a global icon. We will break down her incredible evolution at the Rafa Nadal Academy, her historic 2025 Miami Open run, her gold medal triumphs for her country, and the tactical brilliance that allows her to systematically dismantle the greatest players on earth. This is a definitive, comprehensive story of Alexandra Eala, the prodigy who picked up a racket in Manila and conquered the tennis world. Settle in, grab a notebook, and prepare yourselves, because the era of Alex Eala has officially arrived, and it is going to be nothing short of spectacular. Let's begin this deep dive. To truly comprehend the magnitude of Alexandra Eala's current global takeover, we first have to rewind the clock and examine the crucible from which she was forged. We have to look at the sporting landscape of the Philippines. For over a century, the Philippine sporting identity has been overwhelmingly dominated by a select few arenas. It is a nation deeply, almost religiously, infatuated with basketball. It is a country that has produced some of the most legendary, ferocious boxers to ever step inside a ring, most notably Manny Pacquiao. In recent years, we have seen a glorious renaissance in weightlifting and gymnastics, spearheaded by the immortal Olympic gold medalist Hidilyn Diaz and the gravity-defying Carlos Yulo. But tennis? Tennis has always been an outlier. It is a sport that requires immense, often prohibitive financial investment. It requires access to pristine courts, high-level international sparring partners, and a constant, grueling global travel schedule that is incredibly difficult to sustain from an archipelago in Southeast Asia. To dream of becoming a Grand Slam tennis champion while growing up in Metro Manila is to dream of the impossible. The infrastructure was simply not designed to produce a world number 1 in this particular sport. Yet, into this environment, Alexandra Eala was born on May 23, 2005, in Quezon City. The athletic pedigree was already woven into her DNA. Her mother, Riza Eala, was a decorated national swimmer, instilling in her daughter the foundational discipline, the early morning work ethic, and the understanding of what it takes to push the human body to its absolute limits. From the moment young Alex picked up a racket, observers noted something markedly different about her. It was not just her natural hand-eye coordination or her fluid footwork. It was a profound, almost eerie sense of focus. In a sport characterized by loud outbursts and emotional volatility, Eala possessed a quiet, calculating demeanor on the court. She was a tactician trapped in a child's body. By the age of 12, she announced her arrival to the European elite by winning the prestigious Les Petits tournament in France, a historic proving ground that has served as a crystal ball for future Grand Slam champions. But dominating the junior ranks in regional tournaments is one thing. Transitioning into a genuine global threat requires a paradigm shift. It requires sacrifice. At the tender age of 13, Eala and her family made a decision that would forever alter the trajectory of Philippine sports history. She packed her bags, left the comfort and familiarity of her home in Manila, and moved thousands of miles away to Mallorca, Spain, to enroll in the Rafa Nadal Academy. Imagine the psychological toll of that transition. You are a young teenager, thrust into a foreign country, a new language, a new culture, and separated from the bedrock of your family. You are completely immersed in an environment that is designed to ruthlessly filter out the weak. The Rafa Nadal Academy is not a vacation camp. It is a high-performance laboratory built in the image of its founder, a man renowned for possessing the most indomitable will in the history of tennis. On the red clay courts of Mallorca, under the watchful eyes of elite coaches like Joan Bosch and eventually Alexandra Eala, Eala's game was systematically broken down and rebuilt for the modern professional tour. Training in Spain instilled in her the classic Spanish tennis virtues: immense cardiovascular endurance, heavy, punishing topspin, and a defensive grit that refuses to concede a single point. But Eala is left-handed, which immediately provided her with a unique geometric advantage on the court. Her coaches weaponized her left-handed serve, teaching her to carve the ball out wide on the ad court, a devastating tactical play that constantly forces right-handed opponents out of position. They refined her two-handed backhand, turning it from a reliable rally shot into a lethal down-the-line weapon. And perhaps most importantly, Rafael Nadal himself took a keen interest in her development. The influence of a 22-time Grand Slam champion cannot be overstated. From Nadal, Eala learned the art of mental warfare, the ability to play every single point as if it were match point, and the profound humility required to continually improve, regardless of how many trophies are on the mantle. The results of this intense, immersive training manifested brilliantly on the junior circuit. Eala became an unstoppable force. In 2020, alongside her partner Prisca Negroho, she captured the Australian Open girls doubles title. The following year, in 2021, she partnered with Oksana Selekhmetova to win the French Open girls doubles crown on the unforgiving dirt of Roland Garros. But her true magnum opus as a junior arrived in September 2022 under the bright, chaotic lights of New York City. At the United States Open, Eala navigated a treacherous draw to win the girls' singles championship, becoming the very first Filipino player in history to win a junior Grand Slam singles title. When she stood at the podium in Flushing Meadows, trophy in hand, she did something incredibly poignant. She delivered her victory speech in Tagalog. She spoke directly to her countrymen, to the millions of Filipinos watching on screens across the globe, dedicating the victory not just to her family, but to the future of Philippine sports. It was a masterclass in cultural pride, signaling to the world that she was not just playing for herself. She was carrying the weight, the hopes, and the dreams of an entire nation of 110 million people. But as any tennis historian will tell you, the graveyard of professional tennis is filled with former junior Grand Slam champions. The transition from the junior ranks to the Women's Tennis Association Professional Tour is notoriously brutal, unforgiving, and deeply humbling. The professional tour does not care about your junior trophies. You are suddenly thrust into a shark tank, playing against grown women who are fighting for their livelihoods, women who have spent a decade mastering the dark arts of professional match play. The physical disparity is shocking. The ball comes back harder, heavier, and deeper. Between 2020 and 2024, Eala navigated this grueling developmental phase. She cut her teeth on the International Tennis Federation circuit, the minor leagues of the sport. She traveled to obscure towns in Spain, Tunisia, and Thailand, grinding out points in low-tier W15 and W25 events. There were early exits, frustrating losses, and moments where the sheer physical toll of professional games seemed insurmountable. Yet, this is where the Laban spirit, the Filipino concept of relentless fight and resilience, truly took hold. Eala did not falter. She won her first professional title at a W15 event in Manacor in 2021. She followed it up with a W25 crown in Chiang Rai in 2022. By 2023, she was dipping her toes into the Grand Slam qualifying draws, gaining invaluable experience against seasoned veterans. By July 2024, she had secured her biggest title to date at the W100 tournament in Vitoria-Gasteiz, Spain, pushing her ranking into the top 150 in the world. She was building an impenetrable foundation, brick by agonizing brick. Then came the year 2025, the watershed moment, the year Alexandra Eala fundamentally smashed the glass ceiling. It began in March at the Miami Open, a WTA 1000 event, considered by many to be the unofficial fifth Grand Slam due to its immense prestige and grueling, star-studded draw. Eala entered the tournament as a wild card, ranked 138th in the world. What transpired over the next 2 weeks sent shockwaves through the tennis establishment. Eala played with a ferocious, uninhibited aggression. She stunned the world by defeating a gauntlet of Grand Slam champions. She took out Jelena Ostapenko. She dismantled the massive, overpowering serve of Madison Keys. And in a prelude of things to come, she secured a monumental victory over IGA Swiatek. Eala blazed a trail all the way to the semifinals, making history as the very first player from the Philippines to ever reach the Final Four of a WTA 1000 event. She also made history by crashing into the top 100 of the world rankings for the first time. But she was not done. Later in 2025, Eala traveled to Mexico for the Guadalajara Open, a WTA 125 event. With the confidence of a seasoned veteran, she carved through the draw and captured her very first WTA title, a monumental milestone that solidified her status as a genuine tour-level threat, rocketing her into the top 50 in the world rankings. And because she understands the profound importance of national representation, she traveled to Thailand in December of 2025 for the Southeast Asian Games. Dropping down from the glitz and glamour of the WTA Tour to compete regionally is a testament to her patriotism. She completely dominated the field, winning 3 gold medals in singles, team, and mixed doubles, ending a crushing 26-year drought for Philippines in the women's singles event. By the end of 2025, finishing at a career-high year-end ranking of world number 50, Eala was no longer just a promising prospect. She was a national hero, a bona fide star, and a nightmare draw for anyone on the tour. Which brings us to the breathtaking, cinematic reality of 2026. Eala began the year with a statement of intent, climbing to number 49 after a powerful semifinal run at the ASB Classic in Auckland, New Zealand. She then took her talents to the Middle East swing, a critical juncture in the tennis calendar. At the Abu Dhabi Open, a WTA 500 event, she stormed into the quarterfinals. She followed that up with an absolute masterclass at the Dubai Tennis Championship, another WTA 1000 event. In Dubai, she notched 3 massive wins, including a straight sets dismantling of top 10 player Jasmine Paolini, before eventually bowing out to world number 4 Coco Gauff in a highly competitive quarterfinal. She achieved a new career-high ranking of 29 in March of 2026, cementing her status in the upper echelons of the sport. However, tennis is a game of shifting surfaces and constant adaptation. The spring clay court swing proved to be a severe test of her resilience. Despite her formative years spent sliding on the red dirt of Mallorca, Eala found herself struggling to advance deep into the European clay tournaments. She suffered a frustrating round of 16 exit at the Linz Open against Jelena Ostapenko and a round of 32 defeat at the hands of fellow left-hander Leylah Fernandez in Stuttgart. The struggles continued to Madrid, Rome, and culminated in a heartbreaking, bitterly disappointing first-round exit at the French Open in Paris, falling to Iva Jovic in straight sets. For a lesser player, a catastrophic slump on their supposed best surface would induce a crisis of confidence. The sports media can be incredibly fickle, and whispers began to circulate about whether Eala had peaked too early, whether the grueling nature of the tour was breaking her down. But champions are not defined by how they perform when everything is clicking. They are defined by how they respond when the world expects them to fold. Alexandra Eala's response was nothing short of legendary. She transitioned from the slow, high-bouncing clay of Paris to the slick, lightning-fast, unpredictable grass courts of England and Germany. Grass court tennis requires an entirely different skill set. You have to bend your knees lower, you have to hit the ball flatter, and you have to possess a razor-sharp, immediate return of serve. Eala reinvented herself overnight. The 2026 grass court swing will forever be remembered as the moment Alexandra Eala became royalty. She began her campaign at the Lexus Birmingham Open, a WTA 125 event. Navigating a severely weather-disrupted week, Eala showcased unparalleled mental toughness, surviving multiple rain delays and shifting court conditions to reach the final. In a grueling, spectacular three-set championship match against Nikola Bardenkova, Eala triumphed 5-7, 6-3, 7-5, claiming her second career WTA 125 title. But she did not stop to celebrate. She immediately carried that blistering form into Germany for prestigious WTA 500 Berlin Open. There, she systematically dismantled elite competition. She took out Donna Vekic in the first round. In the round of 16, she shocked the massive serving former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina in straight sets 7-5, 6-4. In the quarterfinals, she overpowered the veteran tactician Alina Svitolina. Although she eventually fell to Linda Noskova in the semifinals, Eala had successfully put the entire tennis world on high alert. And then the ultimate stage, the championships, Wimbledon. As I mentioned at the beginning of this deep dive, Eala arrived at the All-England Club as the 29th seed. The historical weight was immense. No Filipino had ever reached the second week of a Grand Slam singles event in the Open era. After brilliantly dispatching Renata Zarazua in the first round and Maya joined in second, Eala found herself walking onto center court to face IGA Swiatek. Let us dive deeper into the tactical genius Eala displayed in this match. Swiatek is known for her suffocating topspin forehand and her unparalleled athleticism. To beat Swiatek, you cannot simply play defense. She will eventually grind you into dust. You have to take time away from her. You have to hit the ball on the absolute rise, standing on or inside the baseline, and you have to serve with immaculate precision. From a very first point, Eala executed this high-risk, high-reward strategy flawlessly. Her left-handed serve was an absolute weapon, slicing out wide into the ad court, constantly pulling Swiatek off the doubles alley and opening up the entire court for a devastating down-the-line backhand winner. Eala's footwork was mesmerizing. She glided across the grass, absorbing Swiatek's heavy pace and redirecting it with interest. The first set tiebreak, which Eala won 11-9, was a microcosm of her entire career. Grueling, tension-filled, requiring absolute nerves of steel and ultimately ending in triumph. When she broke Swiatek twice in the second set to win 6-2, the silence of shock in the stadium quickly morphed into a deafening roar of appreciation. The defending champion had been dethroned by a 21-year-old visionary from Manila, though she lost in the fourth round to Jasmine Paolini in a tightly contested three-set battle, taking the first set 6-4 before dropping the next two. The impact of her Wimbledon run is simply incalculable. It pushed her to a brand new, historic career-high ranking of world number 28. In recognition of her sheer dominance, Eala was overwhelmingly voted the star of the swing for the 2026 grass court season by the WTA, claiming a staggering 89% of fan vote, beating out Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova. So, what does this all mean in the grand scheme of global sports? Alexandra Eala is no longer just a tennis player. She is a transcendent cultural figure. She is proving that with the right dedication, elite coaching, and an unbreakable spirit, athletes from Southeast Asia can completely dominate sports traditionally gatekept by Western and European powers. Eala stands shoulder to shoulder with the giants of Philippine sports history. But what makes her unique is the demographic she is inspiring. Every time she steps onto a court, millions of young girls across the Philippines, across Singapore, across Thailand and Indonesia, watch her. They see a young woman who looks like them, speaking their language, adorned with sponsorships from major global brands like Babolat, Nike, Globe Telecom, and the Bank of the Philippine Islands, dismantling the best players on earth. She is a one-woman economic powerhouse, driving unprecedented viewership and engagement in the Asian tennis market. Looking ahead, her schedule is a testament to her elite status. Eala's immediate focus shifts to the grueling North American hardcourt swing. She is highly anticipated to make her debut at the prestigious City Open, a WTA 500 event in Washington, D.C., where she is incredibly slated to partner with the legendary Venus Williams in the doubles draw. Think about that for a moment. Alexandra Eala, the pride of the Philippines, sharing a court and exchanging high fives with Venus Williams, one of the greatest icons in the history of the sport. Following Washington, she will tackle the massive WTA 1000 events at the Canadian Open in Toronto and the Cincinnati Open, serving as the ultimate preparation for the final major of the year, the United States Open in New York, the very city where she won her junior Grand Slam title 4 years ago. And perhaps most exciting for her legions of fans in Southeast Asia, Eala is confirmed to be the star attraction at the newly upgraded WTA 500 Singapore Tennis Open scheduled for late September 2026. Returning to region that birthed her career, playing in a $1.2 million tournament at the OCBC Arena, Eala will be the undisputed main event. She recalled playing in Singapore as an 11-year-old at the WTA Future Stars tournament. A decade later, she returns not as a hopeful junior, but as world number 28, a giant slayer, and the undisputed queen of Southeast Asian tennis. To wrap up this extensive deep dive, we have to recognize that what we are witnessing right now is a blossoming of a first ballot Hall of Fame career in real time. Alexandra Eala has defied every single odd stacked against her. She moved across the world at 13, survived the brutal transition from junior prodigy to professional grinder, and has now spectacularly arrived as a top 30 player capable of taking down world number ones on the biggest stages imaginable. Her journey from the courts of Quezon City to the manicured lawns of Wimbledon is a testament to the power of unwavering ambition. At just 21 years old, sitting at world number 28, her ceiling is truly limitless. She has the tactical intelligence, the heavy baseline weaponry, and the terrifying ice-cold composure required to win multiple Grand Slam titles. The Philippines have been waiting for a global tennis superstar for generations, and in Alex Eala, they have found someone who exceeds even their wildest imaginations. The entire world is indeed talking about her, and this is just the opening chapter of her legacy. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredibly detailed journey through the life and career of Alexandra Eala. If you want to stay updated on her march towards the top 10, her upcoming matches at the City Open, and her pursuit of a professional Grand Slam title, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below on how far you think she can go this year, and share this video with every sports fan you know. Until next time, keep watching the courts, because history is being made with every swing of her racket.